Hi, everyone.
Aloha. Oops, all the dinging. That just means that we're going live. So sorry.
That means we're going live. So welcome to our video Every Day in April challenge with
Yeah.
Anna and Selena. Today we are super excited to share some tips and tricks on, well, today on websites, but every day on live streaming and social media and copywriting and website building and then just entrepreneurship in general. We're super excited to be here talking about all that. My name is Anna Larson. I own a small business called Nomadabout, and this is my business bestie right here, Miss Selena Conmackey. And
Hi, guys.
she owns a small business named Howley Socially Inspired. And we do a lot of things together and we do a lot of things separately, but this is one of our joint ventures.
Yes.
Video Every Day in April through the StreamYard Challenge.
Yes, we love it. We love it. Hey, guys. Anna, I think this could not have come at I hate saying better time, but it literally is a great topic to talk about today because I just had a former client reach out to me that I did some consulting with her on her website. And her site got hacked, and it got hacked so bad that the site is down and they're not sure if they can bring it back to life. And so all day today, I've been just, hey, make sure your person does this, make sure your person does that. And I think, what we wanted to talk about today with websites is what about those updates, right, Anna?
Yes, we wanted to talk about updating plugins on your website.
Yeah, but let's wait. Yeah. Let's be real clear too. Plugins, that name and it references mostly for WordPress websites. So there may be other terminologies. If you have Squarespace, if you have Shopify, if you have Wix, just find out what the name is for the updates. And if you are responsible for those updates, mostly like if you're on Squarespace, Wix, they kind of do an automated thing so you don't have to worry much about it. But today we're specifically going to be talking about the plugins on a WordPress website and what you need to do about it.
Thank you for that clarification, Selena. That's super important because I do know other people have other things. But really what it comes down to is making sure that the back end of your website is just as optimized as the front end. So there's a user experience that happens when someone comes to your website and they see all the pretty pictures and they read the great copy you've got there and they click the buttons and all those things that are occurring that are allowing them to have a great user experience. And if you're not maintaining the back end of that and the functions that allow those things to happen and the processing behind all of those great user experiences on the front end, your website's going to slowly die a death that you do not want it.
So you're going to probably first ask, I don't understand, what is a plugin? And a plugin is it's a component that your WordPress website uses to make certain things happen on your website. We have a website that is a page builder and that allows us to build websites. We have a plugin that lets people shop. That's a WooCommerce plugin. It's looking for things and plugins that you want your website to do. That's what you're connecting it to. I kind of like to call the WordPress, which is CMS, is a content management system, is the house. And so your plugins are kind of like, what's the furniture that you're going to bring in to make you really happy and to make it do for you what you want it to do. So the thing is, when you put in too much furniture, it becomes overwhelming and it's not a good thing. It's same with your WordPress website. So you hear about speed and loading time of a website. If you have too much on the back end, it can cause the site to load slow. Now, just because it's not active, if it's still sitting on your site, it's still there, and it allows for kind of a backdoor for hackers. I almost hate saying the word because I'm like, oh no, somebody's going to come find me and use it as a challenge because I said that word. But it's a backdoor. So you may have outdated plugins. You might have an outdated theme. When you first kind of start building your website, if you're doing it yourself, you have a theme, which is kind of like the dress you're putting on that makes the whole outfit good. Well, say you don't want to use that one and you're like, I'm going to use another theme. What you should do is take that theme out because you don't need it. One, it'll help your page site not have so much storage data, whatever on it. But it, again, does not allow for access for a hacker to come in.
Yeah.
And a plugin, same thing. People will kind of maybe, oh, okay, I want this plugin in the beginning. I don't need it anymore. And I deactivate it off the site, but I leave it there. And then you don't update it. What happens is the reason why plugins get updated is because technology is so fast. It is not a normal calendar year. It is like hyper speed. So hackers are working really hard to figure out how to get into your site, and new things happen every single day. And so developers that produce these plugins want to make sure they're protecting your website against that. So when you get an update, it's important to update it, but it's also, it's just nothing makes me leave site quicker than thank you. Yes, Angela. Way too much furniture. She's now going to start leaving people like questions like all over the website. Like, you have too much furniture. I think this is too much. Like, you don't need it.
Exactly.
But, again, that's just thinking about those things. And what happened, like I was saying earlier, is today I had a former client, and we've just been kind of going back and forth on what she should do and yada, yada. And so our tip is just be in the know of, there is maintenance after your website is built. It's not, if somebody's built it for you and you're like, I'm good, thank you so much. It's not like this, and then the site takes care of itself.
Yeah. And one thing I want to point out really quick here too, is that just because your website, maybe you're a small business, or maybe your website's just some blog posts and, maybe this, and you don't have a shopping site, it doesn't matter. You can still get hacked. Okay. Yes. So hackers are looking for all types of sites to hack for all different kinds of reasons. It's not just an e-commerce site. It's not just the large corporations. It's not just for data mining. There are all different kinds of reasons. So Selena's blog got hacked when she was,
we're going to call it, yes, it was my mommy blog. And it was my mommy blog. Yeah. I wrote about puppies and rainbows and spit up.
So why would somebody want to hack that, right?
Yeah.
So the idea here is that don't think that you're impervious to hackers because you're not important enough. That's not the case. They're after any back door that they can access, they're going to access, because the point is to wreak havoc. Okay.
Yes.
So yes. So with the WordPress website, like Selena was saying, you've got all these little pieces of furniture that are making your WordPress house look beautiful, and they require some kind of maintenance. And so for us non-techie people like myself, right, what happens is I go on my back end, and then a big bright red button is there, and it says 14 plugins need to be updated. And I'm like, okay, update them all. So Selena, tell everyone why that's a really bad idea.
You know what? Darn, guys, I'm going to be honest. I was shiny object. So you're going to have to repeat your question, because I was just looking at John's.
Yes, because here's John's comment: puppies, rainbow, spit up.
And I want to answer that. Actually, I want to answer. It's not because my content is amazing. Is people need sites to test on.
Yes.
So you can imagine there's a hacker school for this or that, right? So they need to test. They need sites that like they can kind of go in and start at kindergarten level. That's what I feel my mommy blog is a kindergarten level. But I also put nothing in place. And what the hacker had done, he left me a note on a particular blog post that I had just published. And it said, you need to make your site more safe. He's like, because I could have done way more damage than what I just did. That was the message left on my mommy blog. And it freaked me out. But
it's like having somebody walk into your house and still leave you a note on your kitchen table, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So
exactly.
Okay,
so here's the thing.
Wait, before we move on, I wanted to ask you my question again. Okay?
Oh yeah. What's your question?
For a non-techie person, just to repeat the question, non-techie person, I go in on my back end of my website and I see these red buttons that say 14 plugins need to be updated, and I click update all.
Yeah.
Why is that a bad idea?
So, okay, sometimes it's bad and sometimes it's good. Sometimes people like myself, I will be in these forums and groups of certain plugins that are really kind of a big deal, and you are reading, hey, that first release of the new update is not good. And think of it like if you have an Apple iPhone and that new iOS update comes, everybody's like, hold up on the first release, do version 2.
Yeah.
And it's very similar to a website. Sometimes when there's big releases of a plugin, if you're not in the know, because your job is to do your business, right? So maybe you run a restaurant. It's not your job to sit there and read 10 million magazine articles or be in Facebook forums to hear about the latest plugin update for your website. So yes, should you do it? Absolutely. Especially if you're going to do it for yourself, so you can kind of like save yourself from anxiety down the road, because sometimes they can actually, I have another client. She sent me a message. She's like, oh my gosh, I broke my site. She legit broke her site. She did an update that she wasn't sure. And sometimes if you do it out of sequence, it can actually, and you're like, what do you mean sequence? It doesn't tell you 1, 2, 3, but sometimes an update is because another thing needed to be updated first. And that's just something website people know, right? So yeah, it's kind of, it can be a bad thing if you're just like, click, click, that's all good. No worries. I wish it was that easy. It just isn't sometimes, you know?
Yes. Okay. So now pull up your little. We've got a little helper that Selena has created for everybody that's watching today.
Yeah, we're putting the link for the article in any comment section on LinkedIn, YouTube, Anna's Facebook page, my Facebook page. Basically, it's just keep it as a resource. But I kind of just tell you about that experience that I was telling you, how I found out I got hacked, what I did. All the things. It sucked, you guys. It totally sucked. And so at the very bottom of this, I do have this little infographic that says, hey, here's some steps to do to get started when you've been hacked. And, if you find it useful, grab it. It's here to be saved. So again, it sucks. It happens. And you can do as much as you possibly can. And one of the things we talk about is just making sure you're keeping your site updated. So that way, you're preventing less opportunities for a hacker.
Exactly. And so just to kind of recap, because we're right now at our closing time for our 10-minute tips today.
Yeah.
Just as kind of a recap. So your plugins are kind of your phase 1, make sure that you're maintaining that back into your website. And if you don't know how to do it, reach out to a website person that does. So that you can learn the processes at the very least. And it might cost a little money in the initial beginning, but I promise you it saves you so much in the long run. Yeah. And then step 2 is if for some reason your site is, breached and you do have a hacker get in, then Selena's got that awesome little hacking tip, what you should be doing to protect your site and how you can recover from something that happens like that. So we hope you guys enjoyed our 10-minute tips today on website. This is for WordPress websites, plugins, and hacking.
Yes. Thanks, guys. We will catch you tomorrow.
Bye.
Aloha.